Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I was sitting here doing a little bit of work and I haven't been guided to do a video in a while, but right away they were just like, oh God, you gotta share this with people. And one of the biggest messages is about authenticity, about being authentic and true and real and out in the open, I hear, and like showing your face. And we go through these periods of fear and not wanting to put ourselves in the spotlight, or some of us have a fear of being in the spotlight because it draws unwanted attention that we then have to navigate. But anyway, so I've been in that state for a little while, and I haven't necessarily been sharing as much of myself for those reasons. I've felt, since those of you that know my story, those of you that know what's been going on, I have felt 111 on my recording. Since the breakup that I went through earlier this year, this process of feeling very unsafe and exposed and alone, and there's this false sense of security that you sometimes get from relationships. And for me, what I've realized, and I did realize this back at the time too, this is one of the reasons why, we broke up in the first place, is that I lose myself in relationships. And when it's all over, I hold on for dear life and just can't let go of it, because so much of what I knew about myself was wrapped up in the relationship. And it's like I only knew who I was if I was in the relationship, because I had become the relationship and become so much less of, or not become, because you're always in there somewhere, but I stopped the expression of my true authentic self in order to integrate the relationship, as an empath, a people pleaser, and all the shadows come out in relationship. And it reveals codependent patterns. So really, at the end of the day, it's all about codependency. So you become dependent on this relationship and this other person to dictate or show you who you are, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to be. And for those of you that resonate with that, you get lost. The you gets lost. And I remember when I had my when I was separated from my husband too. I was holding on for dear life, and then when it got to a point of he really started to show a lot of aggressive tendencies and a lot of anger and some narcissism and stuff like that. When his relationship mask came off, that's when I really started to detach and rebel a little bit, trying to be the expression of something that I had lost in our marriage. And there was this desire to feel wanted by someone else too. But I also, I was enjoying my freedom, and I felt freer. And I realized how caged I was in the relationship, in the marriage that I had become. And this is all self-imposed. This is my pattern. I became what I thought he wanted me to be, what I thought you're supposed to be in a marriage, and that happens to me in relationships. So the thing I've struggled most with my most recent breakup is trying to figure out who I am. It seemed as though I had built my whole life around him and our relationship and our future together and how that was going to look. And even this channel, we express so much of our relationship around that, and or on here. And our people, we're connected with so many of the same people, and we're working together and teaching together and blah, blah, blah. And so you remove that aspect of it, and it's like, well, who the fuck am I by myself then? And I was just floating around this abyss, trying to find that me. And I know she's in there. She comes out when I express. She comes out when I allow myself to express, but there's this part of me that resists just coming on here and just expressing. Just laying it all out there. Just being me. Just saying whatever comes to me, whatever comes to mind. Allowing you in to a very intimate personal space, talking about my life, talking about other people in my life. And it's a pretty vulnerable place to be. One of my deepest, darkest fears is judgment. And so every time I come on here, I'm facing that fear. But when we broke up, there has been this phase of fear, not feeling protected, not having a backup, not having my, having a person energetically that kind of backs me up, that's always on my team or whatever it is. So I tend to reel back and feel too vulnerable, and I was recognizing, and there's this nostalgia in me, like before I met him, before all of this came to fruition, like I had the channel started before that, and I was like such a warrior, and I was so strong, and I was so confident, and it's like nothing fazed me, and I was like, fuck fear, and none of that was false. It's just that it was full of fire, a lot of fire, and fuel, and awakening, and intuition, and a lot of that was coming from a transitional period in my life when I got out of my divorce. And I was living on my own, and started my channel and stuff like that. And so there was this level of self-confidence. I lost a bunch of weight. I felt more confident in my physical body than I had in a very long time. Just 10 years probably. And I felt just so good about myself. And so I was expressing that, and I was confident in that, but under the surface, there was a lot of fire. There was a lot of fire, and there was a lot of healing that needed to happen connected to softening that fire, finding my feminine, and a lot of that fire came from distorted masculine energy, because as the feminine, I was trying to protect myself and be able to survive on my own and create what I wanted to, my own life on my own, and I don't need anybody else, and trying to survive too. A lot of that was survival mode. So a lot of my confidence was, not a lot of it, but some of it was like suit of armor a little bit, where I needed to have that armor in order to survive what I was going through. But what I was going through was shedding a lot of layers that weren't me. So that's a good thing too. And I was establishing a new kind of belief system. I was shedding the way I believed, or he believed, I was supposed to be in the marriage, or the role that I was supposed to have, and not just the marriage, but like my whole life. This is the beginning of my awakening. And so it's like my human being was surviving that. And it was intense. It was all very intense. And then, my person came in, and we went this whole big healing journey. But it was also a mirror of all of the shadows and things in me that I have always wanted to protect myself from. Parts of me that I wanted to protect myself from. Really beautiful and really dark places, which is authentically me. The dark shadow places, are lessons that are beautiful, that are meant to craft the expression of who I am as a person. And so resisting those and being ashamed of those, and I resisted a lot of that. So I was coming to a place of finding out who I was outside of the marriage. Who am I as an individual? Who am I as a divine being? It was right when I was waking up, all my gifts were exploding, and who am I? Who am I as a twin flame? That's the journey that launched me into this, and what does it all mean? And who am I as a mom, and as a guide and teacher, and all of that. And I started to see all of that. But then the pattern of reattaching happened, and because I hadn't gotten to the depth of codependency. So who am I? At the time, I'm still a codependent person. And so as I shed the layers of other shadows that were keeping me small and not allowing me to express who I really am, it was like this phase of getting ready for the big one. The codependent pattern was able to be revealed at that point. I was ready to face and have that be the next lesson, the next pattern that I needed, 11:33 on my recording, that I needed to shed. And so the relationship was there was a lot of codependency in the relationship. And that comes from the father wound, that comes from abandonment wounds, it comes from not getting the nurturing that I needed as a child, it comes from a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, I lost myself again in the relationship. And what they're showing me right now too is they're reminding me that as empaths and as intuitives, and especially as healers who connect with and help other people, we connect energetically with them. Their energy, like I'll just give you an example. When I have a client, their energy after they book a session with me, their energy starts to move into my field. 2 days before, 3 days before, sometimes longer than that. And it's taken me some time to recognize that that's what's going on. At the beginning, it would just take me over. So as it comes in, I'm very clairsentient, and it almost kind of takes me over. It's almost like I experience in a way that I become it. And without having a solid energetic maintenance routine, it would kind of take me over a little bit. And I've seen the purpose of it in order to have me go through a resonant experience so that I can experience it in order to know. It's like seeing it from the inside. And over time, I have recognized that that's what's happening, detached from that energy as being mine. There's an element of it that's mine because I resonate with whatever it is that is being brought into my field. That's why. But then it gets stirred up in me. Whatever vibration it is that they're representing that I need to help them with or read in their field for them, is something that I've already been through or something that I'm going through. And so if I've already healed it, if I've already made peace with it, if I've already balanced it, it stirs it up, attaches to that vibration and stirs it up. And it's like a doorbell. I just see a doorbell ringing on a door. It's like a doorbell that says, ding, 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 ding. This is what we're going to be approaching in this session here. But for a while there, I wasn't recognizing that that's what was happening. Now, it doesn't have to be just healers, and it can be anybody who experiences and who has clairsentience, especially as one of their dominant senses, because you experience it as if it's your own. Those vibrations that I do resonate with would get activated, and I would need to look at it again and look at it again and look at it again and approach it again and process through it, because I wanted to try to heal it, to be done with it. I'm like, why do I keep going through this? But that happens when anybody moves into my field. when anybody's energy or the awareness of anybody's energy moves into my field, I feel the impact or the influence of their energy on me. And I've recognized recently, I knew it before, but I've recognized recently that it happens way more often than I think that it does. And so when their energy moves in, and they're going to be in my life just for one day or for 10 years or whatever it is, it's like it takes me over. It takes me over. That's why I lose myself. Because it's like I'm possessed by this other energy that's there. And if that makes sense. So it's been a balancing act to understand and have the right tools for being aware, helping my human being to be aware that that's not yours. That's not yours. Putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And when I was in the relationship with my person, I didn't have the tools, I don't think. I was gaining the tools as I went along. Didn't have the tools to fully recognize that this was someone else's energy that was coming in. This was my client. This was a collective of people. I'm connecting in with a collective of people who are watching this video right now. And so all of your energy has moved into my field in the last day, the last 2 days, or whatever it is. And without even realizing that that's what was happening, it's influencing, or I'm experiencing it. And in order to get to this message for you. But I wouldn't put 2 and 2 together. I wouldn't recognize it. And especially if I wasn't sharing, it would take me over. I would go into this like healing frenzy and need to look at all of these aspects of myself and connect with this and connect with that and really work so much. I was putting so much energy and so much work into helping to clear that it's like I was transmuting it. I was doing all the work to transmute the energy, some of it that I've already transmuted for clients coming in or whoever it was, instead of just witnessing it. And there's no shame in that, and there's no blame. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not like shaming myself at all. It's just that I didn't have the awareness of that just yet. And that's something that Lloyd has helped me to see, and my self-reflection since the breakup, that has helped me to see the influence that other people's energy has over me. And also the purpose and how to put it to good use, 333 on my clock. The purpose of it, how to manage it, how to balance it, how to stay grounded in it, how to witness it and not attach to it, and use it for the greatest good. So what would happen is it would come in, it would throw me around like a little rag doll. I would deal with it. I would do with it what I needed to do. Or I would have a client come in, and my client would, in their vibration, would stir up these things inside of me, and I would go into this self-reflection thing too, like knowing that it's mirroring something to me as well. And be exhausted afterwards. And my healer person would kind of carry the weight of my drain afterwards. It's like I was looking to him to help support me, to help energetically support me, comfort me. And it wasn't like that after every single session, but if I didn't detach from it being someone else's energy and not get my brain stuck in it, it would kind of snowball a little bit. And there was this drain on him, obviously. But that's where I would find myself again. It would be like, okay, let me go over here because I'm in this relationship and this mirrors to me who I am as a person and as a twin flame, or as like whatever, as a teacher, as a healer. You know, he's mirroring all those things to me. And so I have to go over here and connect with him in order to get support, in order for me to see to connect back in with who I am, because another person's energy has just taken me over. And so to balance that, the balancing response was a collaborative, codependent thing. It wasn't always collaborative. Sometimes it was me needing him to help me through that. And so it's been just looking back on it now. I'm only realizing these things as I say them right now. But my whole process of reflection in the since January, since we broke up, there's been this process of healing and grief that I had to go through. And shame that I was putting on myself, that it was taking me so long, or that he moved on so quickly, or shame. It was really just shame. Like, why can't I just get over it? Why can't I get over it? Like, he's moved on. Why can't I move on? Why can't I can't ground myself here. I don't know who the fuck I am without him, without the life that we built together, without all of those things. It's just all of a sudden ripped away, and very, in a very finite kind of way. It was just like all of a sudden, we'd speak every single day and have all of this interaction and all of this energetic exchange and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he was gone. Not a word, not talking to each other, no, nothing. So disorienting. It was like the rug just completely ripped out from underneath of me, which, that's what had to happen. Obviously, that's what had to happen. It's showing me also where the source of codependency comes from, which is, my father left when there was, my parents got divorced and blah, blah, blah. And also, on a multi-dimensional level, when, as a starseed, I was thrust into this human body. So I have been on this search to find who I am. And I am scared all the time. All the time. He and I were in communication recently, and he asked me if I was okay. 2222 on my recording. And it's so hard for me to admit. It's so hard for me to be vulnerable, especially, with him. It's because he seems like he's doing so great, and I feel like I am still so lost, and I can't get my shit together, and I don't know who I am. But I was like, I've had a really hard time getting my footing without you in my life. And it was a good conversation, and it was an eye-opener for me, because I recognized how lost I was and how scared I was. And that's why I told him, I'm so scared all the time. I'm so scared all the time. And he would always make me feel safe. I couldn't find that in myself. But then there were times where I even with him, I didn't feel safe. Like, I have to be honest about that. I feel scared all the time. And I realized how often I'm in survival mode, which is, your human body is triggered to feel defensive. Like, there's danger around every single corner. I'm just in this constant state of survival mode, trying to survive grief, the pain, the sadness, the heartache, the disorientation, the not knowing who I am. It's like I just got ripped out of my own body. But essentially, you do get ripped out of your own body because you disassociate. And I realized how much of my marriage, if I was so lost and I lost who I was, how much of that was I actually in survival mode the whole time? A lot of it. Disassociated from who I really am, from my body. So I've been on this quest of trying to find who I am. And in the meantime, it's not only who I am, but what am I here to do? What am I supposed to be doing right now? Am I supposed to interact on the channel like I always did before? What kind of readings am I supposed to be doing? Is it readings that I'm supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to be a healer? Am I still supposed to be a teacher? Am I still supposed to be helping clients? And because in the meantime, a lot of things have shifted, and a lot of I haven't been able to come on here and express myself authentically, and so and maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just things are coming to an end, or I don't know. But it's like the flow of my readings and my clients and all of that kind of came to a standstill. And I'm like, well, I'm sure it's a mirror of my own energy, and so I'm trying to look at my own energy and try to, figure out what's going on. And I'm getting more and more scared, and my money is depleted, and I'm just in a place of complete lack. And I've talked to you guys about that before, so I have a pattern of that in the past of lack. But it's like I go back to a place of lack. I go back to victim mentality, which is lack, because that's what I've known my whole life. And it's an indicator of survival mode too. I go back into survival mode because that's what I'm used to. That is the protection that I'm used to. That warrior, that I'll fucking do it myself then. I don't need people. I don't want people. And they just hurt me, or they drain me, or they take everything from me, leave me. They always leave me, blah, 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 blah. Victim mode. Because that's where I'm able to most protect myself and not allow people into my life. Which is where abundance is. But I have never known how to do that in a not codependent way. So I have been looking at all the codependent patterns, where they come from, really looking at myself through other people and through witnessing other people, and also reaching out for help. It's one of the hardest things that I have to do because it's such a vulnerable place to be. It is so hard for me to do that. And I know that for some of you, it is one of the hardest things for you to do, is to ask for help and to feel that kind of just rawness, and not knowing what to do, or that kind of perfectionism kind of thing. Like I should know what to do. I should be the guide. I should be the one doing it and just come up with the answers and then tell you guys and blah, blah, blah. That's just the judgment that's in there. And so I started talking to a psychotherapist. I started going to acupuncture once a week. I really sat with my triggers and my traumas. I have been connecting with people here in person, which apparently is one of my fears, because I don't know how to present myself. I don't know how woo-woo to be, how much of in this conversation, how much can I reveal to you that won't make you judge me, or I won't feel the energy of their judgment. How much of that am I supposed to give a shit about? It's this real balancing act with not only knowing and getting to know, somebody's calling, getting to know who I am, but who I am in relation to other people and in relationship with other people. So getting to know who I am and then not losing that again when I sense and feel and experience their energy. It's been a whole new ballgame. So I've been tuning into my chart, my birth chart, so much more lately. And MJ at Soulful Revolution, if you guys don't watch her, she's such an amazing, her growth in the last 3 years has been incredible. And I've been following her since the very beginning of my journey, and I know a lot of other people have, but I'm just so, I'm so connected to her astrology too. And it's the only place that it makes sense for me. Like astrology is like Greek to me sometimes. And, but the way she explains it and the activations that are in her voice and in her understanding of it tune me into the places in my chart where it's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. I'm getting to know me. I'm getting to know me the way that I was born. My starseed self. It's like my starseed is the one that's been lost. I don't know who I am as a human, but my starseed knows who she is. And so now it's integrating both of them. When I was placed down into this human body, who was I? My consciousness. Who is my consciousness, and what is the purpose of that consciousness coming into this body, in this life, with this chart, with these experiences, with these placements? It all accumulated in one alchemical, magical moment. That is the essence of me, my purpose here in this life, connected to all the other lives and all the other lives, and it just has started clicking in a way that is alchemizing with my frequency now, with my human frequency, because I've come to a place of wanting to know really deeply who I am. So recently, this is what I needed to share with you about what in my chart I've been looking at, because for a lot of you, it's also Greek. South Node, North Node. South Node is all about the lessons in life that you have brought with you from past lives, that you've already mastered. It's where you're comfortable. It's where you're most comfortable. And we defer to the South Node characteristics of ourselves and what we've learned, because just like as a human, I know things because I learned them in school. And so I defer to the things that I know. For me, my South Node is in Aries in the 3rd house. If anybody knows anything about that, it's all about being in survival mode. I know survival mode. And so, not in a healthy way, I will defer back to survival mode in order to protect myself, in order to feel safe, in order to feel protected. North Node in Libra in the 9th house, which has to do with finding balance in relationships. So the North Node is all about the lessons in life that we're meant to learn, and where our purpose sits and lies. Who am I supposed to be in this life? Who am I supposed to be becoming? Where is it guiding me? Where is it leading me? And how am I meant to express that in the world in order to be of service to the world? So I'm looking for my purpose. And we are meant to take those lessons and that expertise and the mastery that we have fed over from the South Node. And so I'm an expert at survival mode and recognizing it. And that's why I was triggered. I've been triggered so many times in my life, and in that last relationship too. In order to recognize when I'm in survival mode, I needed to get to know that side of myself in order to really look and gain the tools that I needed, or extract those tools that I needed from the South Node, and to apply them now. So I use those gifts, and I will use those gifts when they become gifts and not triggers and not resistance, to help in the North Node lessons and the balancing act that I'm meant to do, and what I'm meant to help people with. But it has to do with relationships, balance in relationships. And the relationships can't be balanced if it's codependent and I lose myself and I'm in survival mode all the time. And I'm actually protecting myself from true connection. So if you're interested in that, go look into your North Node, South Node. Chiron, the Chiron Gift, the gift that it is the wounded healer. I've been looking into that a lot too, in order to find what my purpose is. Who am I? What's my purpose? The wounded healer will always be there, and I'm a healer. And so how can I extract and how can I use that knowledge in helping other people? the wounded healer. The wound is always going to be there, and we are always going to be leaning towards or falling back on, not falling back on, those are not the words. We're always going to be working to accept, make peace with, and heal that wound. It's always going to be there. People say it all the time, like we never stop healing. But we're not supposed to. It's not about healing. It's about accepting that and integrating that part of us, understanding that part of us, and reacting differently, shifting differently, doing things differently. And not resisting, not leaning into the fear and not going into survival mode, not protecting, not shutting down. I do that through a process of my own personal healing. How do I help other people? How do my clients find me? How can I come on here and tell you all of these things? Because I do the fucking work. Because I do the work. Because I do so much healing on myself. Because I am self-aware. Because I am constantly learning and growing and wanting to learn and wanting to grow and wanting to understand, wanting to feel and wanting to open up and wanting to be real and wanting to be authentic and wanting to see the patterns and wanting to pass that information on. But I can't pass that information on without first doing it myself. That's the wounded healer. And instead of having shame, I feel like there's been shame connected to where the Chiron placement is in my chart, which has to do with family and home and roots and parents and father figures and blah, blah, blah. So survival mode triggers an understanding or triggers the fight or flight, and it like kind of takes us out of our present. It takes us, sometimes triggers an old trauma, and so we're actually in the energy of the past. And I feel like what I'm meant to do is help people come back right into the present, come back into the present. I also have anxiety and worry and ADD, and my thoughts will spiral, and worry and anxiety, we worry about things that haven't even happened yet. So now we're in the future. With the tools that I've gained in my life and with the light of who I am, I'm supposed to help people come back into the present, come back into who you are now. Who are you? Who are you in this life? Who are you now, though? You're carrying, who are you today? You're different than you were yesterday. Who are you in this life? You're different than you were in that past life. And so it's time to help shine the light on your purpose now, moving forward. Be here now so that we can see the broader picture of where you're meant to go. We can do that. And then today, so we've got the new moon in Cancer today, I believe, today or tomorrow. And I read a post online that was talking about and mentioned the Black Moon Lilith because it's in a conjunction, I think, with Black Moon Lilith. With Lilith. It's in a conjunction with Lilith, which brings out the Black Moon Lilith in your chart. So it said, look up where it is in your chart. And I had been studying this for like the last, a couple weeks. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing Lilith in my chart or in, the descriptions or anything. So I went and I looked it up, and Black Moon Lilith in the 7th house in Cancer. That's mine. So I looked it up and it just nailed it. 7th house is all about partnerships. Partnerships. This is a very challenging position in the natal chart. It can bring quarrels and unconscious power struggles in your close relationships. Yeah. It attracts on all of these things. People with this placement desire to be close to someone, but at the same time, they don't know how to do it in a healthy way. They tend to be unaware of their own Lilith qualities and project them onto others. It can indicate partners who are self-willed, not willing to compromise. In extreme cases, they can be abusive. It suggests destructive relationships, at least until you learn how to integrate it properly. So I have had issues with my ex-husband come up in the last couple of weeks too. It's like all leading up to this. It's just, I can see the connections to it now. And so I can detach from like the frustration that I have with him when these things come up. I've had frustration with, God, why does he trigger me every single time? Every time he texts me or anything. It's like, it triggers this fear in me every time. Anxiety, just by seeing his name on there. Why? Why am I so afraid? Why am I so afraid? Blah, blah, blah. It is a very painful process. People with this placement have a deep desire to unite with someone. They can feel that they're incomplete on their own. They want to commit, but at the same time, afraid of it too. Classic. It's totally me. Totally me. Going into survival mode, but then also codependency and connecting. Wanting to connect, but then protecting myself. Wanting to connect, but then protecting myself. So when I have all these placements, when I have all of these aspects going on, with Black Moon, Lilith right now, it's bringing it to the surface, the awareness of it. And it's been brought up and I resonate with it because I'm like, oh, that's what I've been going through the last couple of weeks, or that's what I've been going through in this last week alone. It's all come to a head now. It's come to a head. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. Why? And I can detach from, it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with me. It has to do with, where that placement is in my chart and how can I use that mirror and how can I master that in myself and how can I integrate it just like it says properly? Because at the end of the day, part of my purpose and part of my mission, North Node in Libra, is to find balance in partnerships. So this is part of my lesson. This is part of my purpose. This is part of what I'm supposed to do in life, whether I do it as a career or I make money off of it or not. This is like, I am supposed to find my way into a union. One of the biggest things that I had to admit in all of this is that I really do want that. I really do want that. To be connected, to share my space, to share my life with somebody else. It's a hard thing for me to say. But I want it to be a partnership. I want it to be balanced. I want it to be aware. I want it to not have the unhealthy characteristics that all of my other relationships had. And so the only way to call that in, the only way to get that is to be that. How can I have a healthy relationship with someone if I don't have a healthy relationship with myself, if I don't know who the fuck I am? Been taking the time to build that relationship with myself and really get to know myself. I've been dating myself, really. It's like this chart right here. This is me. I've been dating me. You look nice tonight. Oh, and God, speaking of dating, I've just been like online dating and stuff too, just like putting myself out there, just testing the waters and just putting myself out there. And that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother beast right there. But again, some of these people they're just mirrors for me. And so I'm getting to know certain aspects of myself. And that's what I had to share with you. Look up in your chart. There's a couple of different, I think there's 4 different Liliths in your chart. It's the Black Moon Lilith. And I'm sure a lot of you are going to know way more about it than I do, but I looked up the information that I needed at this point. It's connecting with so many other things that I've been studying up until now. And always being a student of life is number 1. If you learn nothing else from me, know that there is always more to know. There's always more to learn. And I am constantly doing that. I am always looking for more information, and then integrating, and then integrating, and then integrating, and then downloading more as they send me more information. And I'm open. I am open to it. I'm not resisting it anymore, though I may have been in the past. More information about myself. They're giving me more information about myself. They're downloading more and more codes for me to be more authentically me, to shed layers and layers that kept me feeling safe. My consciousness journey, your consciousness journey, is peeling away layers, false security layers on you that kept you protected in survival mode. When you start to peel those away, it's like, no, I can't get out of this box. This box makes me feel safe. But your soul asked for this. You need to be you. This time period right now, this is another thing that I heard from another astrologer, is that the need for authenticity right now is so great, especially for those of you that are guides and healers and really just light workers in any way in your life. You representing authenticity is so important right now. So not do as I say, not as I do. Do the shit you tell other people to do. There are some times where I'll tell somebody something, I'll be channeling something in a reading or in a session or whatever, and I know that it's a message for me too. I'm like, all right, that's good. Let me write that down. But there are also some times where I don't go and do that for myself. Like I'll disconnect and not disconnect from what I was meant to take from that, which is there is another aspect of your routine that you need to be focusing on right now. And so I just have gotten into this phase 2 of, I've called it radical responsibility and getting connected with the things that I need to do that I haven't been doing, that I've been procrastinating on, been led to videos about procrastination and where that comes from and why we end up in procrastination. And it's because there's energies underneath of it that are scaring us that we just aren't facing. So I'm not procrastinating because I'm lazy. I'm procrastinating because I'm super stressed out, or I'm really scared, or I'm really overwhelmed. And instead of finding the tools that I need to deal with that, I would just escape because it was too much. It was too much. And so then I put this off and I put this off and I put this off. I put off sending an email, just as an example, again, to my ex-husband, because I was scared of his response, scared of the response, scared of what's happening, scared of and stressed out and not knowing what's coming, worried, anxious in the future. So radical responsibility. Authenticity is key right now. And obviously, if you need help with that, all of my information is down in the box below. If you resonate with this video, if you have made it this far in the video, I would like for you to put 2 thumbs up and a heart down in the comments. And I usually pick a couple of people and just pull a couple of cards for you right there in the comments. If you want to explore this further for yourself and how to go about doing the things that you need to do, or what tools you need in order to get there, you need some guidance. It's like they've showed me I'm like this guidance counselor too that says, okay, you got this going on, you got this going on, try this out, try this out, try this out, and go. Then check back in with me in a couple of weeks and let me know how that was. Let's adapt, let's adjust a little bit, and then steer you this way, steer you this way, steer you this way. And I do that through the knowledge of the things that work, the things that don't work, that I'm experimenting with or have been during my whole healing journey, and that I continue to do. So if that interests you, all of my information is down in the box below. Hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't already, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified anytime I have new videos coming up. And I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.